in this session I will show you how can you run Kali Linux in VMware. After just completing this session, you will be able to download the Kali Linux operating system or VM. Then you would be able to run Kali Linux in VMware and you would be able to change the network settings. Okay, so let's start. First of all, you need to understand where the Kali Linux operating system or VMware are present and from where you can download it. From the kali.org, this is the website address from where you can download the operating system of the Kali Linux or the pre-built virtual machine or virtual box image. Okay, so if you want to run step by step, you just want to see what are the configuration coming up, you want to change something, then definitely you can use the installer image. But in this session I am going to use the virtual machine which is pre-built. We need not to install it, just we need to download the virtual machine and directly run into the VMware. Okay, so under the when you will see here two options, click on the virtual machine, and after clicking virtual machine it will just show you there are two options, whether you want to download the virtual machine for VMware or for the virtual box. And in this session I will show you how to run the VMware. So click on VMware and it will just start downloading the Kali Linux VMware. Okay, where you have just stored it, extract that machine or extract that particular file. Okay, now in your next step you are going to run Kali Linux in VMware. For that, start your VMware and click on open a virtual machine, and after just selecting the open a virtual machine, it will just ask you where is the source file or where the file you have placed which you want to open into VMware. So where you have just downloaded the file, just give the location, whatever the extracted file you have, just land on that particular location and select that file which is having the extension VMX, and then click on open. Once you will do it, it will be ready uh, for running the Kali Linux virtual machine. Okay, and once you will get that window, click on power on this virtual machine. Okay, and it will just ask you whether you have just moved it or copied it, and if you don't know what you did it, then click on I copied it. And once you will just do it, it will start to run the virtual machine of Kali Linux start on your VMware. Once you will see that particular window, here are the credential predefined, already set credentials are username is Kali, password is Kali as well. Okay, and then enter those credentials, you will be inside the virtual machine of Kali Linux. Okay, if you will open the web browser and try to access internet, you would be able to, because each and every setting which is required for starting the Kali Linux machine or accessing the internet already pre-built or already set it. So here is now we want to make some changes in the network settings. And why do we need it? Because for our lab environment, for example, you have separate virtual machines and you want to perform attack on those virtual machines, then definitely you need to have another network card or another interface which can interact with those uh, private hosts or those virtual machines. Okay, and for that, for example, in our requirement we need to networks, one for accessing the internet, and for example I'm just giving it the name internet access, and the network address I'm going to use is 192.168.20.0/24, and connecting with the other VMs, and I want to give the name of those of that particular network host only private. Okay, and I want to use the network for it 192.168.10.0/24. So let's see how you can make changes on the network settings. First of all, you need to shut down your virtual machine and then click on the edit virtual machine settings. Once you will click on that, it will show you the virtual machine settings. Here you can see we have only one network adapter and it's just showing you net for network address translation. And what does it mean? It means you are using whatsoever the network address you are using on that particular interface, it will translate into the other side of the network and give access to the other side of the network. Here in our case we are using on the other side network is the internet. So with the help of the private IP addresses whatsoever you are using inside it, it will translate it into the public IP address which are having the capability to access the internet. Okay, so that's why we also saw just after running the VM you would be able to access the internet. How that was happening? With the help of this network address translation. I'm not going into the deep discussion of this particular topic because it is a little bit deep concept, and just I'm just telling you the overview of that particular concept. Okay, once uh, we will click on the add button, it will just another window will appear on the screen and it will ask you what hardware you want to add. Okay, because we need two network interface card for our two different networks, then definitely we are going to add a network adapter. Okay, just select the network adapter and click on the finish. It will show you one more extra network adapter in the list of your hardware. Okay, now it is also showing you by default it is selecting the network type is network address translation, but we don't want that. We wanted for that particular network card we have inserted, we want this to connect only with the VMware we are using inside our operating system. Okay, and for that just we want to connect only with them. Okay, so here you can see click on custom and then you would be able to see a list of the other network addresses, and here are two of them are having the name like VM8 for net, which is by default it's selecting, and for another is VM net1 host only. So this particular newly added network adapter we want to attach with this particular network. So just select the host only, and once you will select the host only, it will glue or it will just connect with that particular network with our newly created network adapter. Fantastic. Okay, so here is once you will be able to see those results, that means you have just done the correct association with the network address and with the specific network adapter. Okay, so click on OK. Yes, once you will do it, you will see there are now two network adapter here. one for the net and another for the custom VM net one. That what we wanted to achieve. Okay, and now we also wanted to change the network address what it's by default is using. We want to use our own network. Then how just we are going to do it? Click on edit and then virtual network editor. It's the location from where you can make the changes on the network address of your virtual machine network. Okay, so click on the network virtual network editor. Once you will click on it, another window will appear in front of you, and you can see there are two networks are visible. So one for the VMnet1, which was for host only. So the machines which are connected with this particular network, automatically they will start to get the IP addresses that belongs to 192.168.232.0. Okay, so they will get IP address from this particular range. And for net VMnet 8, they will start to get the IP address from this specific range 192.168.110.0. But for host only, for the VM we are going to use for the lab or the newly created network address in our virtual machine of Kali Linux, we want to give some other network address. Okay, that was for host only. The address was 192.168.10.0. Okay, so how just we are going to change it? Once you will see the list of available networks, click on the specific network which you want to make change, and then you will click on the change settings. Okay, once you will click on the change setting, which was the uh, option that was not available to make changes, it will just start to show you where you will be able to make changes on that specific uh, options. So here, once you will click on change settings, before that it was grayed out. Now you can see here you are getting the options to change the network address. So in the subnet IP, here you can change the IP address, or say at starting the IP network range, and here we wanted to use for this host only network 192.168.10.0, and this is the subnet mask. Okay, and if you know how to calculate the prefix, it will be /24. After just making the changes in the subnet of host only, then click on apply. Okay, and in the similar way, you can also change the setting of your DHCP server. Okay, if you come here and click on the DHCP setting, then this window will appear in front of you. Now it's automatically is saying I will assign the IP address to the host who will request to that particular DHCP server or DHCP setting. They will start the IP address assignment from 192.168.10.128, and the last IP address will be 192.168.10.254, because 255 is the broadcast address. Okay, if you want to make change, you want to assign the IP address to the host from 100, then you can also make changes. Like in this picture you can see I just made the changes, and here is the starting IP address is 192.168.10.100. So the any machines who will request to get the IP address from this particular DHCP server or DHCP setting, they will start the IP address from 192.168.10.100. Okay, once you just see, okay, I'm ready with this setting, I'm okay, I have done it, then you will click on the okay, and your network has been changed for the VMnet1 host only. In the similar way, you can also change the network address of the net, which I have already changed. This is 192.168.20.0. Before that it was 192.168.110.0. Okay, now after just completing this one, click on OK, and now your network setting has been completely changed. Once you just finish those things, click on power on this virtual machine and provide the credential. By default the credential is Kali and the password is also Kali. So click on it and open your command prompt or your shell or your terminal, and over there type the IP config. You can see there are two Ethernet addresses. It's showing for Ethernet 0, it's just showing you what IP address is 192.168.20.100. Okay, so this is the network that is we are going to use to connect the internet. So this is for internet access. And in the DHCP setting we also changed assign the IP address from 192.168.20.100. So this is the first machine which requested to the DHCP give me the IP address, and here it gave the first IP address to this Kali Linux virtual machine. Okay, and for the another network card, that's Ethernet 1, and here you can see the IP address is 192.168.10.100. Okay, so this is for only our private network, that was the host only network. Okay, so it also got the first IP address of the list in the DHCP. So what's the IP address? 192.168.10.100. So in this way you can run the virtual machine into Kali Linux virtual machine into VMware, and you can change the setting of your network addresses and start your practical. I will also show you what actually I have done on the real machine of the Kali Linux. So here provide the credential. I had already changed it, and it will show you the same setting which I have shown you on the PPTs. Okay, and even I had changed the name of the interface as well. Here I gave the name internet access and host only private. Okay, and if you want to make changes on those IP address, for example right now you're receiving the IP addresses from DHCP server. If you want to make changes uh, to manually, or you want to fix the IP addresses, then definitely you can select the interface on which specific interface you want to make changes, select that one and click on this setting. Okay, and it will show you the options available for this specific LAN card or specific Ethernet. Okay, and here is under the IP, under the first of all, here is the name. You can change the name of your LAN card or Ethernet, and here are the IPv4 addressing. You can see it's now receiving IP addresses from the DHCP and it's automatically. So if you want to assign manually, then definitely you can select manually and click on add. It will show you what IP address you want to assign, say 192.168.10.100 say. Okay, and here give the net mask Okay, net mask here is the subnet mask, which is 255.255.255.0, and here the gateway. DNS server you need to assign, but I'm not going to change it. It's okay whatsoever I'm having on that part. I wanted to show you only. If you are willing to change manually, then you can also make changes manually on that specific location. Okay, so in this way you can enjoy the running of your Kali Linux machine into VMware.